is still turned. What did I say?
It's
off.
backward, yeah.
Anyway, you're.
We know what you mean. Yeah.
You're still asleep and you're dreaming, but you're awake, and so it's a form of lucid dreaming, but it is a terrifying one because when we sleep, our body paralyzes itself, so we're not running around acting out our dreams. So the people where that switch is turned on accidentally are sleepwalkers. They'll get up and walk around. They'll do things. They'll even get in their cars sometimes. Those people are asleep and they're unconscious. They're dreaming, but they're able to move around. People with hypnopompic episodes are dreaming and they're conscious, but they can't move. And so they'll think that ghosts are doing something to them or aliens are abducting them. Every time you read Whitley Strieber's accounts of people who were abducted by aliens, every single one of them started with them waking up in the middle of the night and they couldn't move. And so for someone who's had hypnopompic episodes that knows what they are, it's real obvious what it is. Well, anyway, Tacy was having those where she felt like somebody was laying on top of her and it wasn't me. And it's only when she's out on a road trip, and the last episode, that's what it cinched it for me that she's having hypnopompic episodes, because she heard little footsteps walking, running away like a kid.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's a ghost. It's like, no, it's a hypnopompic episode. Because I had that same stuff. I could hear footprint, or not, footsteps.
Sure.
Or I
Pitter
would
patter
hear
a little feet.
Paper flying around my head in 3D, stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, we talked about that for a while. And since I've told her that we made a diagnosis, she hadn't had an episode yet. So that's sort of interesting. But anyway, let's see what this person had to say about it.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
Hey.
Catching up and on the episodes, and I heard you guys talking about the hypnagogic versus hypnopompic episodes. And of course, I'm like you and the lovely lady there. I have the falling sensation.
Okay, so he's talking about hypnagogic episodes. We need to ask Peter, because we're doing this informal study.
Yeah.
Do you ever have those episodes when you're falling asleep and all of a sudden you jerk back awake?
I don't. But then again, I don't remember my dreams. I don't have a mind's eye. I don't lucid dream. My brain shuts off and it's off.
Okay. So I'm not going to discount him because he doesn't ever have them. Scott and I have this hypothesis that when you have those hypnagogic episodes, that the imagery that you have is always related to something in your youth. Because he sees a baseball coming at him. I always see a soccer ball coming at me. Tacy feels like she's falling, or a rock is being thrown at her head, and that happened to her. Stuff like that. So
mine would probably be a baseball if I had them.
Oh yeah.
Probably, that's right.
It was probably me throwing it or hitting it at
this asshole was your coach, right?
That's right.
High school baseball coach.
That's right.
And he comes off as the nice, peaceful hippie guy now, and I understand when he was a coach, that wasn't the case.
More intense.
Yes.
You don't have to.
We had some good times on the baseball field, though.
Yeah, we did. We were very, very fortunate. We had a great bunch of guys, and that was.
Didn't you make some guy run and you forgot about him?
I did a lot of things, Dr. Steve. I'm sure.
Maybe Peter should tell that story.
We were goofing off in the dugout. Somebody ended up having to run poles behind. But the problem is when you have to run poles, foul pole to foul pole. But if you have to do it mid-game, you're running behind the fence.
Right.
So then there's that sheeting where they put all the advertising and you can't see them. Well, if the game gets interesting, you could be running for a little while.
I may or may not have forgotten in somebody.
You think are you saying you did it on purpose?
I'm just saying it's been a long time, Dr. Steve.
Fair enough.
I don't recall.
Fair enough.
I don't recall.
Fair enough. All right, let's finish.
That's what wakes me up. Anyway, of course, you can't die for real if you die in your dreams. That is nonsense. However,
well, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either.
My dad died in his sleep. I mean, he may have died in his dream. Who knows? I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
So I'm not, but it's not people who die in their dreams. For the most part, they wake up. The ones that don't wake up, they're not here to tell us what happened. So, all right. But anyway,
I'm curious. Could you possibly be so frightened and locked in a state of not being able to wake up. For example, my wife, when she took Ambien for the first and only time,
well, that's the problem.
She felt like trapped in her body. She wasn't fully asleep, but she wasn't awake, and there was like, she was kind of trapped in the hypnagogic, I think, or hypnopompic, because she had been asleep, and she tried to wake up, and she said she felt paralyzed. Like she was aware that she was awake, but there were still things like happening in the dream, like somebody was trying to, kill her or rape her or whatever it was. And she was so terrified because she was like frozen and she couldn't get out of bed because I guess the Ambien had still, had a hold of whatever it does to stop you from being able to move yourself or whatever. Anyway, she was like trapped in this state. She felt for like an incredible amount of time. Who knows how long it was, right? Because you're kind of still in dream state. Anyway, it got me thinking, like, could you actually get scared to death? Like, scared to the point, where somebody's trying to kill you and you like have a heart attack and you die.
Yeah. So, when people jump off of bridges trying to commit suicide, the ones that survive, 100% of them will tell you the second that they stepped off of the bridge, they went, what the fuck? Why did I do that?
Oh, yeah.
And they're terrified, but they don't die on the way down. Mm-hmm. When people die from that, they die from the impact.
The splat.
So if that won't kill you, unless you've got a bad heart already and you're right on the verge, that rush of adrenaline that causes vasoconstriction or constriction of the blood vessels that could cause a myocardial infarction or a heart attack. Yeah, I guess that's possible. Mm-hmm. But other than that, we're just not like rabbits, and rabbits particularly will just get scared and then they'll just roll over and die. I've seen it happen. So yeah, humans just really don't do that. Now, what happened to your wife was a classic hypnopompic episode that was probably induced by the drug. And it was so terrifying that she didn't want to try it again. The thing is, if I had a drug that would allow me to have hypnopompic episodes and I could learn how to control them, I'd be all in on that. I would love to participate in some study that induces hypnopompic episodes or lucid dreaming so that, you could do things. And the one time that I controlled a hypnopompic episode, I told this story on the air, I willed myself to levitate up so that I could see, because I was paralyzed laying down flat. And so I willed myself, I couldn't move, but I could will myself to levitate up because it was a dream state, and then rotate so that I could see what was next to my bed. And when I did, it was a hospital gurney. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh shit, this is the archetypal alien abduction, because apparently they use hospital gurneys for whatever reason. And as soon as that happened, it surprised me so much that I woke up.
Popped out.
And what's crazy about it, and I've talked about this before, is in that state, the lights were on. I could see everything in my room. I could see the posts of my bed. I could see the top of the bed. I could see the bedspread. I could see my nightstand. But when I woke up, it was dark in my room. I didn't have the lights on. That was just a mental image of my room, that mental map that's in the base of my brain in the cerebellum. That's where your maps are. And it was just generating this hyper-realistic map. I couldn't tell it from reality, Mm-hmm. It's cool. Amazing. You okay over there, buddy?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was trying to cover that, but I didn't do a good job.
It sounded, I don't know what it sounded like.
Sorry.
I just wanted to check on you.
Yep.
Now, catatonia is a state of being where people have a lack of movement and communication, and those people could be scared into that.
Yeah.
That people with certain mental illnesses can become catatonic. It's felt to be a form of schizophrenia.
Yep.
And I've never known anybody who was just like you and I are right now, who all of a sudden got scared because somebody, I don't know, broke into their house or whatever, and then became catatonic from that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Tough deal.
Yeah, the brain is an amazing thing. And we have no idea how it works. We don't know what consciousness is. So when it fucks up, we have to talk about it in these sort of just broad terms like this. Like, well, their paralysis switch is turned on, but their dreaming switch is turned off. We don't know what any of that stuff is.
That's pretty wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
You think about it after all these years and all the research.
Yeah.
It's still not to be really sure what's going on.
Well, it is amazing.
Yeah.
And this is more pot talk, but the fact that dinosaurs had they used acid to digest things that they ate. Mm-hmm. So they had proton pumps just like we do. And they're, I've heard it said, well, are numbers real? Well, if two dinosaurs are drinking from the same pond, there's still two of them there, even if they're too dumb to be able to count, right? But they were manipulating a quantum object, which is the naked proton, a hydrogen nucleus, which is what hydrochloric acid is. Mm-hmm. Is a quantum object comprised of 3 quarks bound by the strong nuclear force. And they were taking this quantum object and moving it from one side of a membrane to the other and pumping them in to make more and more acid. Mm. And they were doing this, 65 million years ago. Who knows before that? But, 200 million years ago, there were animals that probably used that same mechanism to digest things that they ate. And, we're just finding out about this shit now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing. It blows your mind. And you look at some of these quasars, which are just basically black holes that are eating something, and the jet that they create is pointing at us, and that makes a quasar. Right. And the quasi-stellar object, they're brighter than they should be given how far away that they are. And, that was maybe 10 billion years ago that happened, that flare. And there were things there that actually happened. We're just seeing it. It's just unimaginable.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Our concept of time is so
and
distorted.
Space and we think in this country stuff that was made 200 years ago is old.
Mm-hmm. Well, then Amazon screwed it up by getting everything to you in 2 days.
2 days.
Now everything's screwed up.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Hey, we've got a question online.